In May 2019, the government laid a bill in Parliament to allow political parties to sponsor candidates for district assembly elections. The Constitution Amendment Bill 2018 was to amend Article 55, Clause 3 of the 1992 Constitution on the sponsorship of candidates for public office. Come December 17, 2019, Ghanaians will be asked a specific question. Are you in favor of the bill to amend Clause 3 of Article 55 of the 1992 Constitution to allow political parties to sponsor candidates for election to district assemblies or lower local government units? Yes or no? This question is being put to a referendum because Article 55 is an entrenched clause. In the streets of Accra, most Ghanaians feel that MMDCs and public office holders at the district assemblies should be elected, but not through the involvement or sponsorship of political parties. They argue that political parties such as the NPP and the NDC have engulfed national space with corruption, unfairness, and violence.
Ghana den dem party bi ni de muntu min kada wa den woni woni film ba ya ban no ba den oba mo wa shem nya ne yetum nso ba ze kun de dem party bi woyi woni film an ko ba den oba ye me do pa sisi no because sisi am ese Ghana aye no wontu ni na dropping because we drop won ko fe bi ni na ala me je de asomjo baba because parkway syndrome parties bebre wo ho a wotomo a wobotum wa abo Ghana ma Ghana aye de na akodo wa de yankasa Ghana wo mo diska wo de hihye ma ye nyeme bi a eti ne ebenu ye ho
say DC ni isi ayaba na yeto no me de me trimu dia anka nyese political party bi de ne ho ye de ebe hihye mu oni enti a me pese wo mde wo ho be hye mu ni say ye political ayi no wo mde wo ho hye mu a aye say na ye politics no aye no aye NDC MPP no but say ye pnema ye to so ba na say me fi say ye yo man ka me fi say no mo be hia sin say political parties no de wo ho be hye because they say ye politics ye wa ha no akoye NDC MPP if you assembly man kra ye to a uni MPP a ye nhere ye nto ma uni NDC ye nto ma ti ka me de say ne man de me ka say maniji ho anam bo.
I support the idea that the political parties to join in the assembly elections, like sponsoring them. I think no. Already they are polluting us already, so with the assemblymen, we will decide for them.
In Kantisa political party do shame. They will still manipulate the system. And two, they find money somewhere to sponsor their people to come and rob us again. And they say, "Yanka say independent, near two abanin say 1 year do a bar." Say next time empire, then we go on for another person. But politically, there, so do shame. Now say number shema. Next time to pull their people out, it's very difficult. You want to know, say, yeah, you don't need politicians. We need our independent body to do that.
Any legislation that restrains them from participating in the district assembly and lower local government elections will be better in consolidating our democracy. According to Kosi Dede, an astute economist who has written an opinion on this subject, this referendum does not address the fundamental desire of many Ghanaians to elect their metropolitan, municipal, or district chief executives. The referendum is therefore secondary to the desire of many Ghanaians.
I say we should vote no, one, because I think it's a misplaced priority. The referendum for me would not even be necessary. One, because the question of whether we should elect our MMDCs, that's the Metropolitan and District Chief Executives, is not addressed by Article 55. It is addressed by Article 243. And that is within the bosom of Parliament to address, because it is not an entrenched clause. So the first thing, if our politicians were really genuine about the process, is to go to Parliament and seek an amendment to that article in the Constitution. So the question that is going to be put to referendum on December 17th is not whether you want to elect your MMDCs. The question that is going to be put based on Article 55 is, do you want political parties to engage in the process of electing MMDCs and elected assembly members? So they are playing a trick on the populace, basically seeking their own interests first before addressing our interest, which is to elect MMDCs. So I think that it is time for Ghanaians to take up that challenge and tell them that we have had enough of the deceit.
The political parties and politicians have cleverly placed their interests above those of many Ghanaians. In the view of people like Kosi Dede, the fundamental desire of Ghanaians to elect their MMDCs can only be addressed through an amendment of Article 243 of the 1992 Constitution in Parliament, since this is not an entrenched clause.
Immediately you say that MMDC should be elected through political parties. It means that all those MMDCs will have to go through the primary process, which is a corrupted process in itself. All assemblymen will have to go through, who want to go through political party tickets will have to go through primaries. So you clearly see that the amount of time and effort we'll be spending on elections and primaries will be so huge that all these people, once they go through the primaries, they would have spent money. They will want to recoup those monies. And that is where the corruption is going to increase. What we need is for state to sponsor that process and provide a platform for everyone and keep it as it is. We shouldn't allow political parties to engage in it because they will corrupt the process. They will corrupt the process. And if you look at Article 246, it says that election of MMDCs at the local assembly must be 6 months before presidential elections or 6 months after. So that means that our whole cycle of every 4-year government is going to end up in elections, partisan politics. And that is not helpful.
This process is cheaper, faster, and should be the first logical step taken before seeking the interest of the political parties through a referendum, if necessary at all. However, it will be recalled that on February 20th, 2019, the government laid a bill in Parliament to allow for the election of metropolitan municipal chief executives in the country. That bill was to amend Article 243 Clause 1 of the Constitution to provide for a district chief executive to be elected by universal adult suffrage within a district. The Constitution says in Article 243 that there shall be a district chief executive for every district, who shall be appointed by the President with the prior approval of not less than 2/3 majority of members of the Assembly present and voting at the meeting.